Stand! It's Boxing Day morning. We're having a disco. Let's go, go, go with Rangnick's first transfer signing. Don't worry, I won't keep this going. Actually, I quite like this. I quite like this disco effect, but it might be messing up with people. So we've got lots to talk about this morning. Lots to talk about. We're on tour again. It's Christmas time, so we're on tour. We're going to be talking about Alvarez. We're going to be talking about Vlahovic. We're going to be talking about Florian Wirtz. We're going to be talking about Kamara. We're going to be talking about Romano and his tweet. Also some comments from David De Gea and Nemanja Matic and Ralph Rangnick and the Newcastle game tomorrow. We're back. I hope you've all had a fantastic Christmas. Merry Christmas, you bloody prat. But I hope you've all had a good Christmas. It's still going on, and United not playing today is quite weird, actually, because it's been a long time. I can't remember the last time we didn't play on Boxing Day. So it is a little bit weird not having on Boxing Day, but it means you can just enjoy the merriment with friends and family or yourself and not have to worry about watching United today. I quite like the fact that we're playing tomorrow night. It seems to make Christmas a little bit longer because it's a bank holiday tomorrow and on Tuesday, I think, in the UK. So lots and lots of stuff to get involved in. So yes, I'll turn the light off again in a minute if people want it. If you want to turn the light off on the wall, I can't do anything about that. I can move myself across so you can't really see it. There you go. So is that a little bit annoying, the light in the background, or do you like it? Anyway, let me just get straight on to this. I want to talk off. There is a lot of transfer news to get involved in this morning. So we're going to talk about Julian Alvarez to start off with. This is. I'm going to give him a shout out again. Twitter account MUFC MPB. I saw it last night. Tier 1 Argentinian journalist, Tier 1 Argentinian journalist. You know, I really couldn't tell you what's Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5, but apparently Tier 1 journalist in Argentina, because Julian Alvarez is Argentinian, saying that Manchester United can get Alvarez if they put a bid in. Now, Bayern Munich have been mentioned, not by that journalist, but effectively, if Manchester United want Julian Alvarez and put a bid in, they will get him. Now, I think quite rightly, many of you have spoken before about the similarities between this a couple of years ago with Caicedo, who ended up going to Brighton. And it was this sort of time a couple of years ago where we were going to buy Caicedo and we didn't get him. So, take it with a pinch of salt. But I suppose that the thing is really is that we are in a world where it's you just don't know. You don't know. We've got some quotes from Rangnick and De Gea and Matic about Manchester United and what's going on. And, maybe we are in for Alvarez. Maybe we're linked to Alvarez because that's the player that Manchester United want to sign. Maybe, again, it's just a load of nonsense and we're not going to buy him. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. If you don't know who Alvarez is, we've been speaking about him a little bit over the last few days. Early 20s, Argentinian striker, stroke cam, stroke wide player, plays for River Plate, got a good record for River Plate. I think quite rightly he's been compared to, I think it was Levin who said it the other day. He's not been compared to Levin. He's not 7 foot or anything like that, but he has been compared to sort of Pelestri as a player coming in from South America. But the difference with Pelestri and Alvarez would be that Pelestri was not playing first team football for one of the best teams in Argentina, which is what Alvarez has been doing with River Plate. He's certainly ready to take that move. Now, do I think Man United will get him? I don't know, because he could go Bayern Munich. He could end up at City. It's not the sort of signing United normally do. But the red says there, look, do United need an attacker? I think you're talking about here is if Cavani and Martial go, which ultimately I think both of them, certainly by this time next year, I would say this time in August, will be gone. That leaves you with Rashford, Greenwood, Ronaldo. We probably do need to bring another striker in. So yeah, that definitely that would be it. Yeah, we can do this. I'll tell you what, this is perfect. Let me just do it. Ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. I can't sleep until I feel your touch. Ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. You knew I was going to do it. Anyway, I had to do it. Right, next story. So Alvarez, look, he could be Manchester United's first signing. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But certainly still being heavily linked to him by Argentinian outlets, and he is Argentinian. And we don't know, and you can get the negative people going, we're not going to get him, it's like Caicedo, it's just United being used again. But we don't know. This is the exciting thing. I think in a month's time we'll know. But we don't know what the world of Manchester United is now that we have Ralph Rangnick. And there's some interesting comments coming out. Let me just finish on a couple of transfers. Not even finish. Let me just wrap up a couple of transfers, and then I'll sort of half time it, talk about what Rangnick and De Gea has been saying. Because we have got this game against Newcastle tomorrow, which I'm very excited for, 8 o'clock tomorrow. And as I said, I'm quite happy that we're not playing today. There are games today if you want to keep an eye on that. I'm playing a lot of Uno, Monopoly, drinking, eating, and I'm going to enjoy that. And I'm quite looking forward to United tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and a few days of Premier League football through this week. Burnley Thursday, bring it all on, I say. But it's interesting listening to the comments of people like David De Gea and Nemanja Matic, and David De Gea saying things like, everyone's back in training now. That means Pogba's back in training. It doesn't mean he's going to play tomorrow, but Pogba's back in training, so he'll be involved at some point in the next couple of weeks. And he spoke about, the training. Everyone's so full of energy and pace in training. We now need to get that on the pitch. And he mentioned the word intensity 3 or 4 times. And I think that, I haven't really spoken to anybody in relation to that for a while, but I think the first weekend that Rangnick was here, I spoke to a couple of people who said that, they know it's going to be hard work, but everyone's really excited. And I think that that's what we just need to see it transport to the pitch, because there's no doubt that the training we had under the previous regime is like, chalk, and the training we've got under Rangnick is cheese. It's completely different. So we should start to see things kicking in soon, and hopefully we'll start seeing things like that kicking in against Newcastle. I think that's very important. Anyhow, so yeah, and also Ralph Rangnick himself speaking about the Sasha Lenz, who's the psychiatrist, sports psychiatrist. Why United have never had one before, we don't know, but speaking about the importance of that. So lots and lots to hopefully see improvements of over the next couple of games, because we've been starved of games. I woke up this morning and I thought, when we played Norwich, I was actually away. That was when I was doing. I was away that weekend. I didn't do the Norwich watch along. So my last Manchester United Premier League watch along was the Crystal Palace game, which is just seems a very, very long time ago. Really does. So yeah, let me get back onto the transfer news. So Alan Nixon, who's a journalist in the UK, he's saying that Newcastle are doing everything they can to get Kamara from Marseille. They're willing to pay Marseille up to £10 million, which will put off Manchester United and any other teams. I don't know what I think about that one. I think it's quite interesting in the sense that, Marseille, we know he's out of contract in the summer. I mean, what do people think about Kamara from Marseille? I've got to say, I don't know a lot about him. I know. I mean, he's not a player where I've had to do a Google search. I know who he is. I've heard him be mentioned probably for the last 18 months. But it is interesting that some people are writing him off. Some people saying he's good enough. Some people say he's another McTominay, says Arya says there. But Kamara we're talking about from Marseille. I think he's 21, isn't he? He's out of contract in the summer. Newcastle really want him. He wants the Champions League, says Randy, and I think this is the most important thing, is that whether Newcastle want him or not, I'm not worried about Newcastle getting Kamara, because Newcastle can have all the money in the world, but if a player wants the Champions League, they want the Champions League, not the Championship, and that's all Newcastle can really offer them at the moment. So welcome to the United Stand Members Club, Ashut. Thank you very much. There is a watch along tomorrow. Of course, there is Ryan. Man United are back, and we'll be back with the watch alongs. But so there's a story this morning that Kamara to Newcastle. Newcastle are doing everything they can. Newcastle are doing everything they can in anywhere. I think it's going to be a very interesting January transfer window from Newcastle. I'm hoping they'll get a couple of United players, to be honest with you. But Kamara is a player that United have been linked to. Newcastle are heavily linked to him. £10 million is what Newcastle are willing to pay. But what are they offering? Championship football. Manchester United can offer Champions League football. And if Kamara wasn't in his last year of contract and you bought him in the summer, he'd probably cost you £20 million. So Marseille get nothing for him in the summer. He might do a Lingard and go, I'm going to wait till the summer anyway. On the other hand, he might fancy the move in January and 10 million's there. I don't know. I don't know what will happen with Kamara, but it's just worth mentioning that Newcastle are pushing to get him, and United in the past, I think, have been a bit reticent to that. Any watch-alongs, Mark, says Ramadan? I'm not doing any watch-alongs today. I'm not doing any watch-alongs today because I just can't be asked, to be honest. And Yeah, that's basically the answer. I'm not, and you can guess whose room I'm in all your bloody life. You won't guess it because I'm not actually even at home today. The next one I want to talk to you about was Trippier. This is coming from Fabrizio Romano. I'm going to get over this very, very quickly because some of you might be interested in it. It's a morning news show, so I have to mention it. But I've got no interest in Kieran Trippier coming to Manchester United. I never wanted him to come to Manchester United, which means he probably will come to Manchester United now. But Fabrizio Romano talking about Newcastle again, saying that Newcastle are another club that are really interested in bringing Kieran Trippier to Manchester, to Newcastle. There are other clubs interested. We really wanted him last summer. There's no doubt about that. But for me, this would be stupid, absolutely stupid. To bring Kieran Trippier to Manchester United would be stupid. And I want to be fair and say, look, don't really know the guy. That doesn't matter. So that's one reason. As a footballer, he's a decent right back. I've got to be honest. If somebody said to me, name the best top 5 right backs in England, I probably wouldn't put Trippier in there. So why would I want somebody who's going to be 31 to come to Manchester United? Trippier to me is the typical notice how I'm saying previous regime a lot as well. I'm not even going to use the word much anymore unless I'm talking about his greatness as a former player. The previous regime would probably spend £25 million on Trippier. And he's exactly the wrong player that Manchester United need to bring in. Greg says, hi, Mark. There's been reports from Carrington. Greg, that's just silly on Boxing Day. You've wasted your money there. Bit like Ollie. So, yeah, I think if he bought Trippier. So, yeah, I don't want Trippier. And I think Newcastle would be a good move for him. He's clearly wanting to come back to the Premier League. He'd get good money at the Premier League. So, yeah, go to Newcastle. Thank you very much, Kieran Trippier. But we could have ended up with him. And I think when you look at the previous regime, it's those sort of transfers. We're talking about Kamaras. We're talking about Alvarez. You know, players that we probably don't know a lot about, but we're excited about because we think, oh, that could be the sort of scouting that we've seen at Leicester and other clubs recently. Whereas this January transfer window, absolutely nailed on. Very, very confident that this January transfer window, if we kept the previous regime, would have spent this window trying to get Trippier all window. And on January the 31st, we'd have got Trippier in. And that would have been your January. Welcome to 2022, another boring one like the previous year. So I think the good thing about that is that Manchester United really will not be in for Trippier. And somebody said there, well, we might still be in for him. But look, we will get linked to him. We'll get linked, you know, we got linked to Milinkovic-Savic and we got linked to Koulibaly, even though they... Troy says the Gooseman them had Mark on ropes, says Troy. Okay. The Trippier, sorry, not the Trippier deal. Koulibaly, Milinkovic-Savic got linked to us because they were people who Mourinho wanted and they got attached to Ollie. Trippier will be linked to us, but we're not going to be in for him unless Rangnick wants him. And why would he want an expensive fullback who's not even one of the top 3 right backs in England, English right backs, who's 31 this year? That doesn't tick any box for Ralph Rangnick. So we won't be doing that Trippier deal, and we don't need to do that deal because we've got Dalot and we've got Wan-Bissaka, and longer term I think we've got people like Ethan Laird. Maybe Brandon Williams comes back. So, you know, and I agree with Nabil. Lamptey is the sort of player that United should be looking at. And I think that's the sort of player that Rangnick would like to bring in. And that's the exciting thing. Just talking about a couple of players in the longer term. These both in the news today. One from the Express. Florian Wirtz. I don't know whether you know anything about him. Plays for Bayern Leverkusen. I think he's 18. Obviously, we will get linked to a lot of German players anyway. But we've been linked to a lot of German players in the past. So Florian Wirtz, they call him the new Kai Havertz. Apparently Manchester United are interested in him. And that's coming from the Express this morning. Do we need another number 10? I wouldn't have said so, but then again, we're, you know, on the other hand, Ash says he's missing the goose. Thanks for the super chat. But as BVHV says, you've got Hannibal coming through the U setup. We've got Bruno, we've got Van der Beek, we've got Sancho. There's 4 people who can play number 10 there without, you know, the conversations you might have about bringing people in. So I don't know. But Bulor says Florian would be a good cover for Bruno. And Bolver says January buy would be Hadira and take advantage of the COVID game squeeze in May. Yeah, potentially not a bad idea, that. A lot of people saying Merry Christmas to each other. It's nice to be live with this morning. It's nice to be back live, actually. I mean, I know I was live on Christmas Eve, but it's a long day, Christmas Day, isn't it? I had quite a good day. My nephew is very, very good at FIFA, and he rage quit against me yesterday. He was Liverpool. I was actually Chelsea. I don't know why. And I beat him 5-1. But there you go. I beat him 1-0 with United. It's not a slow news day. There's lots to get into, Idris, but Christmas can be. I want to talk to you about Dusan Vlahovic. Now, I don't really know how to pronounce his name. I'm probably 1 miles off. But Fiorentina striker. A lot of people like Vlahovic. I know a lot of you like Vlahovic. The story today, not linking him to Manchester United, but actually talking about Man City, Chelsea, and one of the European teams, and saying that they would be put off by his wage demands of £200,000 a week. I bring that story in for two reasons. One, we weren't mentioned, but two, his wages of £200,000 a week. Well, just got me thinking, Martial's on more than that, and we're moving him on. Vlahovic is a young striker that a lot of people really like. Now, I don't know what his again, I think with Vlahovic, I'd have to give credit to you, the community. I mean, it's impossible for me personally to have the breadth of knowledge and obsessions as an individual that you do as a community. So sometimes I bow down to that community and say that a lot of you really do rate Vlahovic. Now, I'm going to give you something here. I don't know what his contract situation is. So if you do know what his contract situation is, then let me know. But £200,000 a week, he's banging it in. And Zero Blade said he wouldn't come to United. He wants to be the number 9, and that won't happen here. I think Alvarez is a different sort of kettle of fish, so to speak, because he's not an out-and-out number 9 from what I've seen. Whereas Vlahovic would want to be that. But he is a player that many of you mentioned. He's got 6 months left on his contract, says Tyson, so he's going to be moving, isn't he? I didn't realise that. My dream January transfer is Hadara, Alvarez, and Kamara, and then we could get one of the big guns who are Haaland or Vlahovic in the summer, says Lucas Wade. Well, as I said to you yesterday on my Christmas message, which I hope a lot of you watched yesterday, his contract expires in 2023, so he's got 18 months left on his contract. So probably Fiorentina will be looking to move Vlahovic on in the summer if they want to get some money. Kamara is better than Hadera, in my opinion, says Daniel Kirk. In the 3 wishes I said yesterday when I spoke about the January transfer window, I just want us to be proactive, and proactive is signing players and selling players. I'd be very disappointed if we didn't bring somebody in January, because I think that would hark back to... Hark is a Christmas word. Hark. Let me do it. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Glory, glory, Man United. Sit back down, you've got excited. But... yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, it harks back to the previous problems that Manchester United have had, where even with Van Gaal, in the January transfer window, it's very obvious that we needed to buy players, and they didn't do it. And I was glad they didn't. But this is Rangnick. I think that the board have to buy him a player in January. When you've spent the money you've spent on somebody like the previous regime, then this new manager who's helping rebuild your club, when he says, I'd like this one player in January, they're reasonably priced, you can't go, well, you might not be the manager in the summer, so we're not going to get you them. That's sort of like, that's going backwards and not forwards. Can you make a new video on detailed comparisons for CDMs? Chouamini versus Kamara versus Hadara. We could do that in January, definitely. So, yes, I would like to see Manchester United... Get out. I would certainly like to see family. This is what Christmas is all about. I would certainly like to see United bring a player in January. I think that would be that wasn't Seb. That's the other one. He's got a nephew the same age. They're like a mini Phil and Grant, basically. They just go around causing havoc. So yeah, whenever you've seen Seb before, that's Seb on a 2 compared to what he's like when he gets with his nephew. He's on a 10 then. Yeah, should have got to the door. He might come in for the 8 o'clock show. We'll see. So, but the reality is that the January transfer window needs to be proactive as far as I'm concerned. And I think I said it a couple of days ago as well. Keep your eye on the board. The board do things sometimes to make out that they're good, and they'll do one good thing and go, look at us, we're great. Like, we bought Ronaldo, we don't need a midfielder. Look at us, we're great. Get the social media fired up. And then what happens is, you're still a little bit short. So we need to see Manchester United being proactive in this transfer window. And by that, I mean, let's give Rangnick a player. He might only be here 6 months, but let's give him a player. We need a midfielder. So there we go. Woodward swan song. Well, I don't know what's happening with Woodward. I don't know whether Woodward's actually gone yet, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see with that. So Newcastle tomorrow. I'm a little bit worried. About that. No COVID cases at the moment, but how many games have we had cancelled today? I think we had 2 games cancelled on Christmas Eve. Everton, Burnley cancelled. I mean, Burnley are getting to the point where they'll have played 10 games less than anybody else. They've got to play us on Thursday, Burnley, because I think Newcastle, when they play us tomorrow, have played 4 or 5 more games more than Newcastle. So it's rather interesting. So, but I do worry about Newcastle. I just think, they'll be looking at how many games Burnley've played. They know if they can get games cancelled, they're buying people in January, and it's in their, you can't manipulate getting COVID, and you don't want to manipulate it. But I hope the game happens tomorrow, because we really do need the game to happen tomorrow, without a shadow of a doubt. But how we going to perform tomorrow is going to be very interesting. I've done the preview already. I did sort of want to touch on the Newcastle game on this video, because I did the preview 2 days ago. We've not heard anything new, so I don't really need to delve into it massively. But I do think he'll go predominantly with the team that played against Norwich. I've got a funny feeling he might play Luke Shaw at left back, but I think he'll go with the team that played Norwich. And I think that, in a way, is quite wrong, because the team that played against Norwich played badly, and he was going to make changes. But because they've had 2 weeks instead of 2 days, I think he'll go back and not make changes. I hope he does make changes tomorrow, because ultimately, I said it on the preview, didn't I? It's like the international break. You have a bad result before the international break, and then you forget about it by the time you come back. And we did perform badly against Norwich, and really, certain players should not be playing in this game. But I feel that he probably will pick the same players. But we should be good enough. I think it helps us. I think away from home, I expect to see a very energetic performance from United. I also think that we've got... where am I? I'm actually live from the VAR room. This is where they do VAR. They've given me the keys. So basically, it's a prat in a room having a party, getting pissed. And when they get called up, they just randomly go, yeah, it was a penalty, wasn't a penalty, while singing and having a disco to Rick Astley. So yeah, we're live from the VAR room here. But no, back to the Newcastle game. Got to win it. Have to win it. And got to take into consideration the likes of Arsenal, who are playing today against Norwich at the Emirates. I think it's at the Emirates anyway. I mean, that's another 3 points for Arsenal. So we would be 8 points behind Arsenal with 3 games in hand. And that's to me when it becomes a problem. And I remember Sir Alex Ferguson saying this, always rather have the points than the games in hand, because when it starts to get in, we will have fans going, well, we're above Arsenal really, because we'll win our games in hand. But I think when you've got 2 or 3, 4 games in hand, you can't really start saying, well, we're going to win all 3. You expect, especially, it's at Carrot Road. It's at Carrot Road, says Marcus B. Well, look, as we saw with Norwich against us, they could be playing us now 2 weeks later and they still wouldn't score a goal. So, but I do think that that's an important point of playing tomorrow and winning tomorrow, is that we've got a bit of pressure on ourselves, and it's not our fault. We do have a bit of pressure on ourselves this morning. No matter what the team is, I won't complain. I trust Ralph, says Daniel Kirk. And yeah, I think that's a very mature and right comment to have, Daniel, at the moment, is that we are in a situation whereby the manager is still really new. So let's see what he does. I expect to see changes at some point. And the key change for me, surprisingly, would not be McTominay and Fred. I'd love to see Donny play next to Fred. I think that's the way I want to see it, or even Pogba at some point. I want to see McTominay and Fred broken up because I just don't like the pairing. I think that even when they play well, they're limited players. I think they're really important players as part of the squad, and I don't mind one of them starting. But I think when you've got Van der Beeks and you've got Pogba's, and you're looking to be active in the transfer market, then McTominay and Fred shouldn't be your midfield too. But I hope it is a draw between Norwich and Arsenal Tabasco. But I wouldn't be too fussed if they play tomorrow. For me, it's who plays with Ronaldo. I don't like the Rashford Ronaldo dynamic. You're not going to drop Ronaldo, so I would actually drop Rashford. His form's not been that good anyway. I think he's so quick. I think Rashford as an impact sub's a good idea at the moment anyway. I'd like to see Greenwood and Ronaldo, or Cavani and Ronaldo. So, yeah. And I agree with Omta. You know what? I've been thinking about Pogba quite a lot over the last week. He's back in training now. It feels like Pogba's become a quicker problem than we thought it would be, because we always knew that Pogba was not going to be back until the start of January. And we always thought that we would have played more games by now. The reality is Pogba's going to be back fit to play when Rangnick's hardly managed many games, because he's missed 2, hasn't he? So I would like to see Pogba involved because he's here till the summer and he's better than some people we've got. It's going to be interesting what Rangnick does with Pogba. But I do want to see a different front two. I don't think Rashford and Ronaldo work together and complement each other that well. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching. My pick, who would I go with? Troy, I will talk about that, this lockdown thing. I'd like to see Greenwood and Ronaldo because I think that's got longevity. But, we need to win games. Cavani and Ronaldo, I think, would work as well. So one of those front two, really. I don't think we're going to see Anthony Martial involved. The only reason you'd see Anthony Martial involved is if Rangnick is trying to keep Martial at the club. So, yeah, I don't see that happening. In relation to lockdown, the lockdown situation in the UK at the moment is that I think there's a meeting tomorrow. The only relevance this has to football, you don't need to panic. Football will be carrying on. It's the prospect of behind closed doors games, which nobody wants. Kush says that Greenwood's selfish as well. Yeah, but Greenwood's more of a technical player. We saw that lay off for Fred against Crystal Palace. Does Rashford lay that off? I think he would have done, but I think Greenwood has more. There's a word for this. I think Rashford is a very on the edge footballer. He's a flair footballer. I think Greenwood's got more technical capability to find a pass. It's like Dia says, Greenwood's better technically, and I think that's the truth. So yes, we're just waiting to see what sort of lockdown is going to happen in the UK. I think we're waiting to see what the hospital rates are with this new Omicron. Varane will be back tomorrow, Hal. We're really excited to see that. And Greenwood is technical, Rashford is moments, says Paul Robinson, who's one of our moderators. And yeah, so I think we were just going to wait and see whether we get. I don't want to see matches behind closed doors. I really hope that in England we don't go into any lockdown, because one, I want to see some family next week. It's Christmas week, isn't it, before New Year? But secondly, I want to see football fans in the grounds. I would always take football behind closed doors over no football. I find that such a pedantic and moody reactionary thing to say. I'd rather they just cancelled it all if there's no fans in the ground. No, I wouldn't. I would rather we had some football going, because it might get shut down for 2 or 3 months. But I really, really hope that we can keep the fans in the ground, because it's been so important to everybody, and it makes a massive difference. Whether, obviously, if you're a fan in the ground, it's fantastic, but it also makes a massive difference if you're not in the ground. Anyway, look, I'm hoping I will be back on the 8 o'clock show. Well, I will be back on the 8 o'clock show tonight. Same again. Have a fantastic day, whatever you're doing. Manchester United tomorrow night. Let's keep hoping that is going to happen. I think it will. Lots discussed this morning. Nice to be back live. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 likes. And I will speak to you all on the 8 o'clock show. Enjoy your day, whatever you're doing. Merry Christmas. And I'm a firm believer that Christmas isn't over until at least, I think, January the 6th, but whatever. Thanks for watching. Take care.